Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Meeting You podcast. I am your host, Emily Bradbury, a personal development and embodiment coach. And this episode marks the beginning of our 4-part mini-series on the basics of personal growth and energetics. This is lesson 1. So my objectives with this first lesson is to clarify what personal growth actually is and dismantle the taboos or misunderstandings around it. I want to help you understand why people spend thousands of dollars to go on elective retreats like Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny, or getting a life coach, or traveling to Mexico to do ayahuasca. And I also want you to start being able to get clear on the him and her of your dreams and your ideal self, as well as some final tips for how to get started on your growth journey. If you're not driving or doing other tasks while listening, I recommend grabbing some note-taking material. This is not mandatory, but you may get some nuggets from this episode, and we're going to do an exercise together at the end. If you are just able to listen, then even if you can't take notes, I definitely can see you getting some seeds planted for you on your growth journey. So let's go ahead and begin. First, let's get clear on what personal growth and life coaching really is by dismantling the top 10 misconceptions about it. So number 1, personal growth is just a high energy motivational speaker saying positive things at you. While personal growth does look different for everybody, it goes far beyond catchy slogans, motivational hype videos. It's not just a video with some hardcore music in the background while somebody says some wise words, or even videos of the one-armed basketball players or the horse races, or you've probably seen them. Even though those are really inspiring, personal growth is intimate, it's personalized, and at some points it's even challenging. Personal growth is about actionable steps, self-awareness, and consistent effort. While inspiring words can definitely spark a fire in you, true transformation happens when you're able to apply those ideas into your daily life through habits, reflections, pushing through challenges, and in some cases, you're even rewiring your neurons and your brain chemistry. It's a journey of deep personal work, not just surface level positivity. Number 2, personal growth is selfish. The misconception here is that investing in yourself means that you're neglecting others or being self-centered. In reality, taking care of yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically allows you to show up better for others. Personal growth is a gift to your relationships, to your community. Who you are in the world affects everybody around you. So for some broad surface level examples, you've probably met a cashier or had a coworker or even a friend who consistently had this just like horrible attitude and just ooze negativity. Maybe you've seen some people post horrible comments underneath somebody's post, or knew a guy or a girl who was in unfulfilling relationships and just wouldn't leave. Maybe you have or had a parent or partner, or know somebody else's parent or parents that says cruel or abusive things. And I believe fundamentally our souls upon conception and birth are loving, peaceful entities that get covered up by unchecked egos, traumas, conditioning. And my experience, typically the behaviors that I mentioned that can be seen as abusive or unhealthy are typically a reflection of that person's unhealed traumas or learned behavior from their childhood, culture, family. Sometimes it's the defense mechanism developed over the course of their lifetime. And sometimes because of these roots or other conditions and factors, they reflect a lack of self-love, self-esteem, self-respect. That by no means excuses the behavior, by the way, but personal growth is bringing awareness to how you operate in the world and how you can become better for yourself and call others to a higher standard as well, and gain the skills to get what you desire, and in the process, helping other people feel really great too. Number 3, it's all about positivity. The misconception here is that you have to be happy and optimistic all the time to grow. In reality, growth often requires sitting with uncomfortable emotions, addressing wounds, and working through challenges. Honesty, transparency, and real, raw authenticity is the key. And it's messy, but that's where transformation happens. I don't like putting the word toxic before positivity because I believe positivity is such a great source of strength and courage. And when you're learning how to rewire your brain to become a genuinely happier person, a part of that process does involve intentionally rewiring the script from life sucks, I'm stressed, everybody hates me, I'm so anxious, self-talk, to I love my life. Everything flows to me easily. I'm magnetic and a happy person. This goes to affirmations, which I'll review in the next episode where we review terminology. But where I think people get confused is that in personal growth, we do hold space for the real human polarity of emotions, the good and the things that are more dense. Personal growth is about allowing those feelings of stress, anxiety, or any emotion that is heavy or uncomfortable to come to the surface and truly feel them. But instead of allowing it to fester and feed into this victim mentality, we allow space for them to be felt and understood so we can understand the root cause and provide either the validation or the healing steps necessary to allow ourselves to become free of it and genuinely operate from a place of security and peace. It sounds foreign in today's society where we seem to bond over and thrive in negativity, and sometimes it feels like it's a competition to see who's the most damaged, who's the most exploited, the most underprivileged, the most persecuted, the most oppressed. And to be clear again, this is not to overlook real injustices and pain points in our world or to invalidate anybody's experience. But through personal growth, we can operate from a place of true empowerment and not let any person, structure, or society to define us or our power. Number 4, growth is a linear journey. The misconception here is once you start working on yourself, it's just a straight path upward. In reality, personal growth comes with ups and downs, as well as plateaus, even setbacks or times where you feel like you're going in reverse. Progress isn't always visible, but every step counts. Number 5, you need to be fixed. So this misconception is personal growth is for people who are broken or need fixing or have intense traumas, or that personal growth is about feeding into your insecurities and making you believe that you are fixed or you need to be fixed. In reality, growth is for everybody. It's about evolving and striving to be the best version of ourselves, celebrating who we are now, appreciating who we were in the past, and becoming the highest version of ourselves. It's not about being flawed or incomplete, and it's not even just for people who have had traumatic childhoods or events. It's any sort of limitation a person imposes on themselves that caps their potential. I do believe that the vast majority of the population is drastically unaware of what true inner happiest means, or the subliminal rules that they've been taught is reality and are told to accept. But that only further emphasizes my point that you do not need to have a cookie cutter trauma, a victim mindset, or some catastrophic event to need or at least benefit from personal growth. Number 6, this is a one size fits all approach. The misconception here is that you have to follow a specific method or routine, like wake up at 5 a.m., meditate for an hour daily, etc., etc., etc. That can definitely feel intimidating, but reality is that growth is just very highly personal. What works for one person may not work for another. It's about discovering what resonates with your specific life and goals. There are people who swear by talk therapy, cold plunges, EMT tapping. Those were, for me, not a great source. But when you start, there are going to be people in your life or speakers that resonate with you. And there's going to be stuff that doesn't. And there will be practices that work and there will be some that don't. We are all very highly unique. Number 7, you'll be perfect once you arrive. The misconception here is that there's a finish line where you have it all figured out on your personal growth journey. In reality, I hate to break it to you, but growth is a lifelong journey. Even when you make significant progress, there's always room for learning and evolving. If anybody has ever seen the entrepreneurial roller coaster diagram, it's pretty simple, or it's pretty similar. You make the first step, It's super terrifying, but you get your first win and your breakthrough, and now it starts to get exciting. But then you realize that after you got that first hurdle, you might have jumped right over the hurdle and into a huge plunge where everything that's been holding you back is revealed. You start learning all the terms like what trauma looks like, limiting beliefs, inner child, which again I'll review in our next episode. And it's like, holy crap, this just goes on forever and ever and ever, and there's all this stuff that I'm working through. And you work through it all, and your feelings are heightened, and peoples and opportunities that don't serve you start falling away, and the world feels like it's ending because your old reality is dying in a way. And then boom, you become a new person, and it's beautiful, and you're the best you've ever felt, and you have the best relationships of your life come in, promotions or new career opportunities. And then the next phase begins, the financial limiting beliefs, why you cap yourself at a certain level of income you believe you deserve you make, or you believe that you deserve to make, why you don't pursue that promotion or entrepreneurial idea, your relationships. Some of you may be thinking at this point, wow, Emily, you're doing a really good job on selling why not to do this and why not to do my growth. But the thing is, by working through these things, you're constantly raise the standards of your income, your relationships, your career, everything into your life, and you remove the things that are holding you back from allowing yourself to go after it and receive that. Number 8, personal growth is expensive. The misconception here is that you need expensive coaches, retreats, you need to spend thousands of dollars of coaching in order to grow. While those can definitely help, growth can also come from free or super low-cost resources like podcasts, like books, like journaling, even just having meaningful conversations with the people in your life. Everyone's path is unique and different. The beginning of my journey, I was simply just reading a couple of books, listening some podcasts, doing some Pinterest shadow work exercises, and watching free YouTube videos from Tony Robbins and David Goggins and Alexis, who is Alexis on Instagram and YouTube. You can find so many different art courses and resources online. Number 9, it's only about big dramatic changes. The misconception here is that personal growth means overhauling your entire life. In reality, small, consistent steps often create the most significant changes. So simple habits like drinking water, practicing gratitude, having better boundaries can be quite transformative. And some of the most transformational shifts in my life came from micro changes. It's kind of like the snowball effect. A micro shift in your actions will grow momentum, and then you have a huge shift in your character. Number 10, you have to do it alone. The misconception here is that personal growth is a solitary journey, and asking for help is a sign of weakness. In reality, growth often thrives in community through supportive friends, mentors, therapists. Asking for help is a sign of strength and self-awareness, and who you surround yourself with is who you become. They did a study where if you find the average of your top 5 friends' income, you probably make somewhere within that amount. The same applies here. If you surround yourself with people who are working on themselves or are thriving in areas that you want to thrive in, chances are eventually you will too. For me, my ideal dream squad is having a personal fitness coach and a nutritionist for my physical health, a business coach to constantly help me elevate my brand and impact more people, and a personal growth coach to help me continue to create breakthroughs and connect to my spirituality. That is 4 people already who are achieving on the level that I want to achieve, and naturally, especially if they lead retreats or have a community following, I'll be introduced to people there too and create even more friendships and constantly increase the quality of the people around me. And that's how you do it. And if you can't afford it, you just follow them on socials. Social media is a wonderful blessing in our generation, and I'll further this point in the tips at the end of the episode. As a bonus one, it is easy for those people. The misconception here is that successful or confident people have it easier or were naturally gifted in some way. The reality here is that behind every success story is effort, vulnerability, a commitment to growth. In a lot of cases, the people that were confident or appear financially abundant or strong or empowered now had to earn that through working on themselves. Everybody starts somewhere though. I want to take a side tangent here a little bit and express that a huge scapegoat that people use for not being where they want to be in life is not having the money, or when they see somebody else do it, oh, they have XYZ resources. So I'm not going to blindly say that having a financial abundance doesn't offer opportunities or doesn't help, or it's not a blessing to have, but it is only one faucet. Being financially well off doesn't automatically guarantee that you'll be successful, that you'll be a good person, or that you don't have problems. And, my growing up, this is coming from somebody who I had a single parent income when I was growing up, and we were making underneath six figures for a vast majority of my life. But why I share this with you, though, for people who are just on their personal growth journey, starting or considering it, I want to say this with empowerment. Nothing is holding you back from what you desire unless you give it the power to hold you back. You are in control of your life. Now that we've identified some common misconceptions, as we transition to defining the dream self, I want to share a story with you. So I used to run a district office for a sales company, and on a weekly basis for 2 or 3 years straight, I would run interviews for mostly college students aged 18 to 20 years old. And one of the questions I would ask is, what is your dream job? And some students would come up with the most incredible stuff. People wanted to open salons, a practice, a firm, cure cancer, create prosthetics for amputees, own a studio, make music. I've heard hundreds of big dreams. And while there are definitely some kids I interviewed that have no idea what they wanted to do, and this does apply to them too, by the way, so if that's you, continue to listen. I know for a fact there are thousands of 18 to 20 somethings that have big dreams of wanting to change the world, but most only get to 30 to 70% of the way to their goal. Very few end up making it to the end. And some say it's because, reality set in and the world's a lot tougher out there and yada, yada, yada. Okay, but why do some people make it and some don't? Why do only the top 1% get to have it all? The dream career, the dream relationship, the dream family, the dream income, and the dream lifestyle. Some of it could be luck, but I truly, truly believe that your standards and your beliefs about yourself, combined with the clarity of your vision and the commitment to your cause, create your reality, and that's where personal growth steps in. It's giving your dream self and your dream life breath. It continues, or it creates a visual goalpost of who you want to be, the life you want to have, and the steps that it takes to get there. And this is where we dive into your dream self. Many people in the world have either no idea of their dream self or a very broad 3 bullet point view of it. Like for me, walking into college, it was, I want a husband, a couple of kids, I want to be a pediatrician who owns my own practice, and I want to start a nonprofit. Maybe you're there, maybe not, maybe you're more clear or less clear. So listener, let's walk through this together. The more specific and clear that you are on your highest self, the person that you want to be 1, 5, or 10 years down the line, the more likely you are to become them, because then you start seeing signs and clear pathways on how to do it. As a disclaimer, as we go through these prompts, this is going to be different for everybody. There is no right answer, and since you're new, sometimes saying I don't know is a good start, because now you're clear on what you're not sure about. Awareness is always going to be a great first step. So I want you to imagine a world where you get to entirely create your own reality without worrying about the judgment of others. No societal expectations, your dream world, your dream self, regardless of who you have been in the past or attempts that you've made previously. We'll start with your identity and values. Who do I want to be in the world? What values do I want to embody daily? How do I want others to describe me when I'm not in the room? That's always a great question. So when you walk out of the room, how do people remember this version of you? How does my dream self carry themselves, their posture, their confidence, their energy? How would that feel in their body? What does my dream self wear, and how do they express that unique style? What kind of energy do they want them to radiate when they walk into the room? What are the daily habits and routines of that dream self? How does that dream self approach health, fitness, and nutrition? What does the ideal morning and evening routine look like? What kind of relationships does my dream self cultivate? How does my dream self set boundaries and communicate their needs? What kind of people surround my dream self, and how do they support that growth? What work or purpose lights my dream self up? How does my dream self handle challenges and opportunities in their career? What kind of legacy does my dream self want to leave behind? And what beliefs does my dream self hold about their worth and potential? How does their dream self handle setbacks and failures? What emotions does my dream self experience and most often, and how do they maintain that balance? What does the home or workplace of my dream self look and feel like? And what kind of places does my dream self spend time in? What's one thing my dream self would stop doing today? And what's one thing my dream self would start doing today? And if I can embody one trait of my dream self right now, what would it be? Hopefully that started to give you an idea or a picture, or start again just planting those seeds of who your highest self is. This will consistently and constantly evolve over time and change. But before I end today's episode, I want to give you a couple of tips before you continue on your self-growth journey. Number one is just to know your intentions. Personal growth means something different for everybody. But for me, it's about becoming the best version of you. More confident, happier, having the skills and emotional intelligence to build relationships professionally, romantically, platonically, in productive, healthy ways. It's about not passing down bad habits, mindsets, or issues to your children, or passing it to your friends, your partner, or your families. It's becoming a better wife or husband to your lifelong partner one day. Becoming a person who loves the world and is a loving force in the world, and in return attracts love into your world and your reality. Number two is understand the personal accountability aspect. This comes with time as you continue to grow yourself, but you are not a victim of your reality, and that is a beautiful thing to realize. Because while things may have happened in your life that could have victimized you, whether it was financially, romantically, friends and partners, whatever it was, we live in the now. And in personal growth, you take radical responsibility of your life and the way that you act and think, and transform it to align it with who you want to be in the world and the results that you want to see in the world. Even if you haven't been victimized in the traditional mental health sense, maybe you're the type who changes jobs every 2 years before you hit greatness. Maybe you're the type who cheats or finds flaws in your partners and sabotages relationships. Maybe you're a procrastinator or a perfectionist. To embody the type of person you want to be, it requires setting the identities that led you to who you are now. Number three, understand it's not always easy, but it is necessary. I believe that we all have a responsibility to work on becoming the best version of us for ourselves and the people in the world around us, which may require consistently growing ourselves. I have always been a trial by fire girl, meaning that I wasn't afraid of getting into the nitty gritty, doing the hard work. I prioritized my personal growth above all other things. And that does not mean that I wasn't uncomfortable, or that I wasn't scared, or that it wasn't sometimes hard or painful. But I understood that if I wanted to become my dream self, I had to put in the work to rewire how my brain operated. Because honestly, if you already were the person you wanted to be in the world, you'd probably have all of your desires already. That doesn't necessarily mean being a CEO at 18, which can happen, but having a job that you love, great friendships, a healthy relationship at 18 is attainable if you know how to unblock yourself from it. Number four, surround yourself with incredible people. I've been very lucky with who God and the universe has introduced to me. So, for example, when I was a freshman in college, I was recruited into a sales company, and my division manager was David Roy, one of the best mentors I've ever had. He taught me all the foundations of sales, business, entrepreneurship, personal growth. He introduced me to my first personal growth coach, Mike Lanzetta. He opened my eyes to what personal growth really is. So you see, for me, when I started out, I was awkward and I had a lot of self-doubt in high school in my first year or two of college. I felt like an outsider a lot of my life. And while I had a small handful of good friends, I also attracted a lot of unhealthy dynamics into my life because I was an unhealthy person too. But because I didn't know how I really didn't know how people personally, other than my boss and mentor David and a few of my friends in a place that I work, I intentionally followed people online who matched the lifestyle that I wanted to live and the mindset that I wanted to embody, and I joined their programs. Who you surround yourself with is who you become, and you attract into your life who you are. Number 5, get a mentor who has what you want. For me, it was Taylor Carr. She's a badass businesswoman, changing the world through teaching women how to become the woman of their dreams, personally and sometimes professionally, and attract high-level love. Through her program, I became the woman of my dreams, who attracted in one of the best romantic relationships of my dreams with a guy who is truly husband material. Maybe I'll do an episode on that one day, but find an mentor and eat up their programs. My Taylor example won't resonate for everybody, and it's not supposed to, but I have this one friend who loves entrepreneurship and is great at fitness, and I've been telling him for months to start a physical fitness program because he completely transformed his body. He went from out of shape to jacked. He has what many people want, a transformation. So my number one tip for him is the same one that I have for you guys. Get a physical fitness mentor or the mentor in the area that you want to achieve in, and then go ask them how they did it. So whether it's a profession, a mindset, a relationship you want, find somebody who has it or close to it. And since you'll have your own unique spin on it, and just, join their program or ask if they take any mentees. Anyways, that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me on lesson 1 of the foundations of this podcast mission and journey. I hope you all enjoyed and at least got one golden nugget from this episode to take with you. And I'll see you next time on Meeting You.